What's up YouTube, MechSet Guy here. So recently Samsung released their new flagship device called the Samsung Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus, and today I'll be showing you the S8 Plus. So for starters, the unboxing is super clean as expected. Open up the box to reveal the phone itself, followed by all the accessories you'll need to get going. Generally I don't pay too much attention to what's in the box, but in this case I have to give Samsung tons of points for putting attention to detail. This might not excite you, but all the accessories match the midnight black color of the phone, which I thought was really cool, including the USB Type-C cable, the fast charging power brick, the data transfer connector, and the micro USB to USB Type-C connector. One thing that Samsung is including in all boxes are headphones that are tuned by AKG, along with some extra earbuds for different size ear canals. For those of you not familiar with this company, they're one of the most well-respected manufacturers of sound equipment in the world, which is also known as Harman. Anyways, spec-wise this device is definitely packing all the desired hardware you would expect out of an $850 phone. The most noticeable feature is a beautiful 6.2-inch Quad HD Plus Super AMOLED display. All the power comes from the Snapdragon 835 or Exynos 8895 chip, along with 4 gigs of RAM to keep things running smooth. A base storage of 64 gigs is what Sammy provides, which is a blessing. However, you can expand the storage by adding an SD card. A 12 megapixel rear shooter and an 8 megapixel front facing shooter is what you'll get. It's IP68 dust and water resistant, features USB Type-C for charging. It's the first phone to feature Bluetooth 5.0 and has a 3500 milliamp battery. So as mentioned earlier, this device does not cut any corners and you definitely get what you pay for. On the outside of the device you have the power button on the right and the volume button on the left, but now there's an extra button below that which is for Samsung's new AI called Bixby. You still have the option to expand the memory as well, and at the bottom of the phone is where you'll still find the very rare headphone jack. For charging you'll be using USB Type-C, which is awesome, and last is the not so great downward facing single speaker. Taking a closer look at the device, this device is the sexiest phone of 2017 so far. I can't even explain how gorgeous the screen is, and this video does not do any justice. You really have to have the phone in your possession to see what I mean. And well, this infinity display, as Samsung calls it, is really the selling point of this device. The screen has Samsung's new AMOLED technology, which is called Quad HD Plus, which transcribes to a resolution of 2960 by 1440. And has a pixel density of 529 ppi, and believe me, it looks amazing. As expected, the colors are super vibrant, which looks very pleasing to the eye. Colors really pop, blacks are darker and more saturated, which you really can't complain about. Now the reason this screen is called the Infinity screen is because of how the screen wraps around the phone. Since you no longer have a flat display, the screen melts over the phone, which creates the edge-to-edge screen along with near bezel-less display. And that's a good thing. I love how little bezel there is around the screen. However, because you have such a taller display, the screen ratio also changed from 16:9 to 18:9 or 2:1. Essentially, this creates 2 even squares on your display. To put this into perspective, when multitasking, you're able to perform 2 tasks without having to sacrifice either of the split screens compared to the 16:9 ratio that was in previous generations. The only downside to this is the fact that there's not many apps that support this ratio, and you may end up with apps that don't quite fill up your entire screen. However, there is a section in settings in which you can enable certain apps to take advantage of the full screen, but it's not fully compatible. You will notice some things get cut off. But honestly, that's fine, as I'm sure this new screen ratio is the future and will be headed to a lot more phones. Now, one thing I mentioned earlier is the screen has a resolution of 2960 by 1440, but what I didn't mention is that the device does not come like this out of the box. I'm not sure why Samsung did this, but I'm assuming they wanted to play it safe with the battery and maybe knew that the bigger screen and higher resolution would hurt battery life. Whatever the case is, you can change the resolution to its glorious Quad HD Plus by simply going into the display settings and changing the resolution or putting the device on performance mode, as Samsung calls it. Now the screen isn't the only major difference between this and its predecessor. Samsung has decided to join the AI game to compete with the Google Assistants and the Siri of the world. Simply pressing the button on the left side below the volume rockers is what activates this assistant. Out of the box, you don't really get much use of it because it displays cards such as what Google has been doing for a while, and it shows you relevant information based off your calendar, searches, pictures, or really anything you search on your phone. Again, this isn't anything new. Samsung did state that the voice portion of Bixby would come later in a software update, so for that reason, it's pretty useless. There's an app out there that essentially allows you to remap the button to another application of your choice, but Samsung has attempted to block this by pushing a software update that does not allow you to do so. I'm sure there will be another app, if there isn't already one, which will allow you to do so again. What's strange to me is that you have two assistants providing basically the same information. You can still press and hold the home button, which will activate the Google Assistant, which at this point is my go-to assistant. Maybe once Bixby has full functionality, I'll give it a shot, but at the moment, it's not up to par. Talking about the home button, this is another new feature for Samsung. Due to the Infinity display, the home button has been embedded into the display at the bottom, along with your navigational keys such as recent and back button. The home button is pressure sensitive, so you will feel a slight haptic difference depending on the pressure you apply. This navigational bar pretty much replaced the haptic physical key from the previous generation. You have the option to change the order and even the color of the bar if you would like, but for the most part, it functions great. Turning the device to the back, you'll find the 12 megapixel camera along with the newly positioned fingerprint scanner. Just to get it out of the way, I do not like where Samsung decided to place the fingerprint scanner. Although it works great, it's hard to reach, and more often than not, I end up smudging the camera. Not a good move. Smudging the camera and having to clean it is not ideal and can get annoying, but it is what it is. Now, the camera didn't really change much from the previous device either. They kept the exact same features but improved it ever so slightly software wise. Still takes one of the best pictures of any mobile device, so no worries there. And besides that, the only big thing that has been added to the camera is Bixby Vision, in which you can point your camera at an object and it will try to tell you what it is. It did pretty well on most items such as landmarks, but then not so well on others to the point where either it would give you a completely different item or just not be able to find it. Whether I use this feature or not, it's cool to have just in case, but maybe over time will continue to get better and more accurate, and I'll probably end up using it in the future. Speaking about cameras, the major improvement was to the front-facing camera. It did get a bump from 5 megapixels to 8 megapixels, and you can definitely tell a difference. The shots are a lot more clear and it has the ability to do autofocus as well as high dynamic range. The clarity is mainly due to the aperture now registering at f1.7, which lets in tons of light for better selfies and whatnot. The clarity of the camera plays hand in hand with the iris scanner and facial recognition that Samsung added to the S lineup. It's super simple to set up and works really great. I come from the Note 7 saga, so having the iris scanner was a huge selling point. Not only because of how secure it is as well as reliable, but also because of the bad idea Samsung made when repositioning the fingerprint scanner beside the camera. Honestly, it works well, and by the time I pick up my phone to unlock, it's already unlocked. The facial recognition is another way to unlock your device, but after several reports of the phone being unlocked via a picture, I'm hesitant to use it. Overall, this device is a premium package. Is it perfect? No. But no phone is. The small nitpicks such as the placement of the fingerprint scanner are definitely turnoffs, but that doesn't stop me from recommending this phone. The screen is really the selling point and it's hard to beat. It still takes great pictures, now takes better selfies, has a powerful processor, has expandable storage, still water resistant, and software wise has been refined to give you a smooth, buttery experience. Let me know if you would like me to do a follow-up video in a couple months to give you an update on how it's performing. Well guys, that wraps up this video. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already done so and smash that like button if you enjoyed the content. Catch you guys in the next one. Later.